Hey everybody, Jason Burmis here, and it's Mixed Martial Mindset where we just might, actually talked about mixed martial arts for the first time in some time with a probable
Sometime.
card now less than, less than 2 weeks away? Yeah, less than 2 weeks away. I joined as always by John Fitch of johnfitch.net. You can check him out right here. Let's bring the Fitchmeister up next to me. And up at the
Hmm.
top, you can check out all of his social media, including links to his new weight cutting book, which is it's under $10 on Kindle, as well as
Yep.
Failing Upward, which is a great. I've had you read segments on the show. It's an awesome book. Don't they get a bonus chapter with the weight cutting book?
With the weight cutting book, yeah, I give you a sample chapter, chapter 11, BJJ and girls. It's a good chapter.
BJJ and girls. And guys,
Yeah.
you can check this out via thegruelingtruth.com audio podcast after the fact. And John Fitch Knows Nothing. You had a couple of those this week, right? You had a quarantine update?
I did a quarantine update on Saturday night. I just hadn't talked to people for a little bit and just wanted to get a more of a feel of everything because it's still everybody all over the place. I'm collecting conspiracy theories. That's a lot of fun. All the crazy conspiracy theories, the people I'm talking to about what conspiracy theories they've heard. We're still waiting for those arrests to start happening. Um,
That's the worst. It's the worst,
just, I
dude.
mean, just a lot of stuff that is, I don't know. It's kind of crazy, but like I just finished Scott Adams' book, Win Bigly,
Uh-huh.
and it's an excellent explanation of how a lot of the stuff happens. People generally are irrational and make most of their choices based off of irrational reasons. They usually make their choice first, and then they rationalize the reasons for it afterwards. People think that they make 90% of their decisions in a rational fashion, and 10% they're kind of crazy, but it's actually reversed.
So you're telling me that basically 90% of an average person's decisions are based in confirmation bias, and then
Yes,
by
and irrational things that they've decided to make their reality, because our brains were never developed to understand what the baseline reality is around us. It was only designed to understand the world around us in a sense of survival. And that's it. So we can't really fully understand. Our brain was never meant to fully understand everything.
Well, I agree there. I don't think we're ever going to unlock every mystery of the universe or get it right all the time.
Mm-hmm.
That's what being
Well,
human can
so
do.
I mean, and then your day to day, like if it doesn't directly affect your survival, it doesn't really affect you. So you can make up all kinds of hallucinations around a lot around it. It happens most commonly, I think, in relationships.
Well, I would agree there. Especially you
Yeah.
find yourself in, one person or the other, usually will find excuses time and time again for their partner if they don't think that they're on their level or they don't deserve to be with that person, or
Hmm.
they're just so desperate to be with
They'll
that
they'll be
person.
blind. Yeah, they'll be blind to like, oh, my girlfriend's hanging out with her coworker again. She slept over on his couch. Yeah. Okay. So then, and stuff like that happens for like 6 years of the relationship. And then one day you come home and she's with somebody and you're like, oh my God, I never saw it coming. Well, whatever. That's
No,
that's that that's that confirmation bias. That's that hallucination. That's the irrational part of you making the decision because it doesn't really affect whether you survive or not.
it's the cognitive dissonance I think that we're all kind of under, and unfortunately, especially with this administration, I think a lot of people have hopium, John, because the guy was so different and he does call out the news media for being
Well,
assholes.
everybody was so gung ho about Obama, like
Mhm.
he's going to change things. He's the one. Oh my God, we're finally going to take the country back. It's going to be America again. No, like the president really isn't that powerful.
Thank you.
He's
Thank
really
you.
not.
He's really not, and
He's really
that's
not
that's
that
hard for people
powerful.
to understand that the uh, Whether you call it the deep state, whether you call it the administration, the military
Hmm.
industrial complex, the predator class, they're the
Yeah,
ones that are largely in control.
the only way the president can get something done is if everybody already wants him to do it. If they're already pushing him in that direction, then he'll be like, okay, well, I'm gonna do this whatever bill, and I'm gonna do a presidential order or whatever. But like, if they didn't agree with him 100% on what he was doing, like they would never let him do it. Like you're not you're not you're not that powerful as president.
Hence, you weren't able to get out of Syria. Hence, after you said you were going to get out of Syria, Duma gets.
I truly think the only power the president has is his veto. That's it. Like he can stop something that Congress and everybody else puts through, but he can't. He doesn't. The president never puts something through himself. Never. It never happens.
No, you're basically right. I mean, again, other than Trump had his moments, got us out of the Paris Peace Accord or the Paris.
No, I think he's done a great job.
I wouldn't go with great. I would say
Compared to what Hillary would have done.
well. I mean, God knows what Hillary would have done. But again, like you said, when he tried to push back against Syria, all of a sudden there's a chemical attack in Duma. 2 years later, and so less than 2 years later, it comes out there was no Duma or chemical attack in Duma through hard documents. Does the president say there was no attack in Duma? Does he fire the officials that told him that they were? Did those missiles not get fired into Syria? No, that all happened.
He didn't even go
folks.
after the journalists who were discrediting him and telling me he didn't do enough and whatever. So yeah.
Yeah. I'm with you 100%, John. So I got to ask, what are some of those conspiracy theories that people are throwing out via the coronavirus to you?
Well, the one that it's all just cover so that Trump can arrest the pedophiles. I think that's one of them, where he's going to arrest the deep state.
Well, you got kind of like a righter, I would say, wing following, Cernovich and other people. And not that Cernovich buys into that, but there are people that follow Cernovich that certainly buy into that, and I'm sure that you're finding that out. I get it all the time. Jason, they're pulling the kids out of the underground tunnels in New York City.
Man, I don't. There's no reports of that. There's no witnesses of that. People are still out. Like you go out around here, people are still out. They're not like doing super secretive missions and nobody can see. I whether or not there is definitely a child trafficking issue and a sex trafficking issue. I don't think we need to put the focus on some bullshit to take away from real things that are going on.
No,
maybe I think
you.
it's a little bit over the top. I think it's an interesting story, but it would make for a great movie. But it's not
reality.
how things work. It's just not how things work.
Well, you this June, when you were at the Garden on standby because you had beaten the shit out of Rory McDonald 1 year ago today and then been robbed. So you were on standby in New York City.
1 year.
But you went to Central Park and you took a walk and you smoked a joint there with a buddy. Can you imagine, again, a military operation in that park to dig into underground tunnels to save somebody? I just don't think that, the people that believe that have even strolled through Central Park, let alone...
You have ever seen it or what? Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, it's not what people think. It's actually kind of neat.
What would that even look like? Okay, so they're digging holes in the dirt. Are they pulling up manhole covers? What's the procedure on that? And you're not seeing anybody in a gutter or whatever. I don't know. And then I highly doubt people aren't. I don't think people are capable of pulling off that big of a fancy conspiracy to trick a bunch of people. I don't think people are that good at it.
John,
I think if something happens, there's always a whistleblower. Somebody brags about it. Something happens.
John, why are the kids underground in the first place? That's the next thing. Why do the private elites that have this pedophile ring have underground bases in the first place? If we're going to talk about real underground testing on human beings, we can. That's real. That took place through the Department of Energy. They admitted to those things. The Tuskegee experiment was just one of those things. And Annie Jacobson has written in her books, Area 51, DARPA, and there's another one on Project Paperclip, right? She talks about this human experimentation. It's something we did. In fact, I wonder if I can do it live. It was always a hard one for me to find live, but in New York City hospitals in Brooklyn, They injected retarded kids with herpes and cancer. Okay, let's see.
Jesus.
New York City. Let's see. I want to say type it in. Let's see. Brooklyn
That's
kids.
wild. But yeah, so the history has got plenty of examples of powerful people in governments and shit doing awful, awful things. Of course,
Yeah, yeah. It's
but
right here.
I just think it through. I don't think that that's. I don't think that that's a. I think the simple answer of they're hiding them under Central Park in New York. Like, why would they? Why would they have to do that? Why would they have like a penthouse and a secret elevator and? I don't know.
It's
You can have your imagination. A
ridiculous.
floating island. It's not a real cloud. It just floats in the air, and people think it's a cloud, and that's where they keep the kids.
And again, we're not talking about 100 years ago, everybody. I want to make that very clear. This is in the 1960s. They were doing this to New York City and Brooklyn kids in a chronic disease hospital. They were injecting them with cancer viruses. Look, it's right behind John's head here. The continuation of cancer studies. They didn't know. And if you don't think this is happening in second and third world nations by the United States or by corporate interests, you're also being extremely
Yeah,
naive.
they outsourced all that. They outsourced that at the same time to China and other places. They're just
And
not in
you know,
our
it's got its own
backyard.
Wikipedia page. This is real. Again, this isn't Jason Burmis just pulling up an obscure article. Can you imagine what we don't know? So, again, the fantasies, in my opinion, they have to stop. But let's talk about Fantasy Island, John, because apparently it's really happening.
It's happening.
And before
Fantasy Fight Island.
But yes, Pedophile Fight Island, as we reported last week, that it was
Did
possibly.
he get that? Did he get that island, or was it a new island?
I think it's the same island. They still haven't announced the property. They are saying, again, the rumblings are that it's going to be McGregor Diaz 3 for the first pay-per-view on the island. We've got the first card, and guys, this is Mixed Martial Mindset, so that's the next thing we're going to do is go over that killer card. I'm itching for some mixed martial arts, guys, and this is a stacked card. But they haven't mentioned the other two cards, which are on the 13th, I believe, and then the 16th. Yes, the 13th and the 16th. Of course, no fans. I think they're all going to be at the Veterans Memorial Arena, so none of these are on Fight Island. Let's get to the card, because it is... Where's that? Where is it? Don't tell me I don't have the... Come on, Jason. You got to have the whole card. Here it is, right here. So prelims. Let's start it there. Let's go with early prelims. Don't know much about Ryan Spann, but Sam Alvey, he's got a big right hand. He's in there as a slugger. I don't know how he stays with the UFC if he doesn't win this one, but it looks like they're trying to start it out with a banger. Bryce Mitchell, Charles Rosa, lighter-weight guys, kind of an even fight. Vincent Luque, really showy. Nico Price, a real fighter. I think that you know which one Luque is, right? The guy that was doing those backflips in that UFC debut, right? Flashy,
Is
whatever.
it,
I think, yeah. Nico Price might have his number. Now let's
The
get
13th, May 13th. Is this the fight?
Yeah, this is actually the 9th. This is the first one. So the 9th.
First one is the 9th.
Yeah, this is
Okay.
the first one's on the 9th. So check it out. Look at this prelim card. Uriah Hall versus Jacare. That's a good fight. I'm interested in that fight. I think Jacare takes it, but Uriah Hall can surprise you. He shows flashes of brilliance, with wins over people like Masasi. Not upset about the women's fight. Carla Esparza versus Michelle Watterson. Two exciting, lighter women's fighters. I think that, they're top tier for what it is now. Top 10, top 15 perennial. Exciting fight. Heavyweight fight. Alexei Olenek versus Verdum. I haven't seen Verdum fight in 2 fucking years, I don't think. When was the last time
He
Fabricio
hasn't
stepped
fought
in
in
there?
2 years. Okay.
Yeah,
It's been a while.
Think about it. When was it?
It's it's been a while ago. I don't know when the last time his fought was.
We're doing it live. This is why we do it live, folks. Let's check it out. When was his last fight? How do I not have his actual fights? There's the record. Bam. It was against Alexander Volkov in March of 2018. So 2+ years ago. Damn. He's on a 25-month hiatus. I didn't expect to see him on that card. Very happy he is. And then Donald, I threw the fight Cerrone fights Anthony Pettis in a battle for Company Man of the Year. I got to root for Pettis on this one. Pettis, He again, he shows flashes of, excellence still. I think that's a good fight. Welterweight, who you got?
That's it. I mean, man, at welterweight,
Yeah.
these guys, I don't know, man. These guys, they're not even like bothering to like make weight or they're just fat 55 pounders. Pettis fought at 45. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just think Cerrone never really does. Does he really ever do that great against top guys?
Every
And
once
is
in a
Pettis even
while,
a
he shows
top
those
guy? I don't
flashes.
know. I'm honestly not really that interested.
No, I mean,
Like, no, you know what I mean? Because like, oh, they're exciting fighters, but like, so like 14 losses, 10 losses. Like, how close are they to a title? I don't know. I still like sport. I'm not just about pro wrestling matchups. It doesn't move me.
well, I think that since both of those guys, if you look at their last probably 5, 6 fights in the UFC, they have losing records,
Mm-hmm.
and they're both name draws. And it's a possibility, since you're not telling Donald Cerrone to lay down, that he throws with an exciting striking fight just before the pay-per-view begins, and they get those last dollars and cents for Gaethje versus Ferguson. So I think, honestly, I like that fight. I think it's a smart fight to put at the top of the prelim card. They keep trying to push Greg Hardy. I don't know who Jorgen De Castro is. I'm sure they're putting him in there to lose against Hardy. I hope he beats the shit out of him.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like they're looking to
No, get him out.
stepping stone that guy. Jorgen, where's he from?
Let's check him out. I don't know much. I think I may have. If anything, he has 1 or 2 UFC fights under his belt.
Yeah.
Because I don't. I think I may have seen him fight once. Yes, and he's a heavier set dude. Let's see.
But he weighs less.
Yes,
So he's plumper, has less reach. He's not as tall. He's older.
I
Like
want to
they're-
say. Does he even have a Wikipedia? Doesn't even look like he has a Wikipedia. Let's see what Sherdog has.
Sherdog
for
would
stats.
probably be the way to Sherdog Fight Finder. They probably have something on him.
So yes, he's got 1 real UFC fight and then a Contender Series fight. And did he win? He did. No, he did not win. So this guy's coming off a loss.
So an exhibition loss, but they don't count it because the Contender Series doesn't really count.
No, Contender Series does now count because they're not doing 2 rounds because it's not the Ultimate Fighter.
Okay.
And he wait.
Well, then
I guess
why is his record 6-0?
Well, then he must have got this. It must be over Justin Tafia, right? So this is him right here. Okay, so he's got 2 KO wins. Leg kicks and punches in the first one, KOs in the other. And it looks like every other one is a KO. So maybe they are putting him in to win. Maybe they're sick of Hardy shit.
Maybe. Well, I mean, you never know because big guys and who their opponents are, like fighting in small shows. Sometimes they dress a bum up, let them fight for a sandwich.
Well, they did that with Hardy.
I don't
how many
know. They
times?
might be. Maybe Hardy. He's not paying off for him. He's hard to work with. They're paying him too much for what he's worth. So they're like, yeah, we gotta take him down a notch.
No, it's a good possibility.
That's business practice. They'll fight you. A fight you're supposed to lose, you lose. They cut you, and then they'll negotiate and re-sign you for less money.
You're not wrong. Jeremy Stevens versus Calvin Kattar, another awesome fight. Jeremy Stevens, again, in featherweight, perennial top 5, top 10 guy. He may lose sometimes, but 90% of the time puts on an amazing fight. Calvin Kattar on the way up. That's a tough one for me to call. I think that could go either way.
Yep.
I think they're pushing for Kattar to become more of a name, et cetera, and build him up as a prospect or a title contender. But that's just another awesome fight they didn't need to give me. So thank you, UFC. Then we start really getting into it. Are you ready for this one? Francis Ngannou versus Rosenstruck that knocked Overeem's face off. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, this is a good fight. This is good. It's a good matchup. This is gonna be fun to watch. Good. Yeah, this is a great matchup. It's gonna be a good fight.
I love that.
I better see Nago in some movies soon. He needs to play a super villain in something.
if Rosenstruck fucking puts a scar on his face the way he did Overeem, he's like the perennial bad guy everywhere. Like, all he needs to do is knock his lip in half. And honestly, I think that
chicks dig scars.
I got one from I don't even want to get into it, but it's an old one. I got Rosenstruck on that one. I think Ngannou's been out for too long. I don't think he's faced somebody with as much power as Rosenstruck. We saw what he did against Derek Lewis, even being scared of his power, where they
I
barely
mean,
touch each other.
it's a who lands first scenario.
I think you're right there. And then this fight out of almost nowhere, another hardcore MMA fan's dream, the return of Dominic Cruz,
Dominic
arguably the
Cruz,
best.
back to action.
Oh, man. Listen, say what you want about him, dude. He's one of the most exciting 135ers, one of the perennial best out there. He gets injured all the time, but going right in against Cejudo, I'm for it. Let's see what happens. Cejudo's looked like a
Might as well.
beast. That's a great co-main event. I mean, that's legit. Good job, UFC, and I'll give you that. And I get it. Cruz is a company man, and Cejudo's always up for a fight, trying to build that cringe image. And then the main event, Ferguson Gaethje. Much rather see Ferguson Khabib, obviously. They're talking about maybe a late May, early June Nurmagomedov return somehow.
Yeah.
I think that only really happens.
I don't know. Habib said something about September. He responded to something I said on Instagram, and he said September.
Because the media is putting it out there. Maybe it was White saying May. And the only way I think that happens is if Ferguson or Gaethje, one of them gets knocked out in the first round and the other one's unscathed, right? Because
you can't. You're gonna need at least 3 to 4 months. Like no top
Gaethje
guy's
will fight
gonna
you
win a
again.
title contention with no time to prepare. I mean,
that's the other thing. Who you got? Everybody's asking me who I got in this one. It's hard to bet against Tony Ferguson, but Gaethje gets things done quick. And Ferguson,
I really like Justin Gaethje, man. He's a tough fighter. He's been more calculated with his attacks and his game planning in the last couple fights. Is the last one or two or whatever, but like in recent memory.
Yeah,
so like he's made adjustments all after the last loss, and I think he might be able to do it. I don't know if there's too much time off for Tony. When's the last time Tony fought? Has he been fully healed from everything?
That's a good question.
I don't know. Gaethje's got a lot of power. He's tough. I would lean toward Gaethje. I think Gaethje's going to win.
You got Gaethje. Let's see. Mixed martial arts record. His last fight is June of 2019. That's right. He murdered Cerrone in June, almost a year ago. And they beat up Pettis before that. So he beats up both of the guys on the prelim. That must have been at 170 on both, right? Yeah. Both fight nights. He beat Kevin Lee before that. Dos Anjos. I mean, look at that win streak. Again, that one loss against Michael Johnson in 2012. Yeah, he's a guy that gets injured, but it's not like there's a bunch of chumps in that name. Barboza, Josh Thompson, you name it. Those are tough guys. Even Danny Castillo had his flashes of brilliance every once in a while. Castillo was one of those guys that looked awesome, and then he'd get chin musicked, So let's talk a little bit about the chin music that Bellator gave you 1 year ago in a split draw, a majority draw, and you still haven't fought since then, John. Bellator, does it also start to make its way back in? Are you hearing any rumblings now that Dana White and the crew are getting ready to do it?
I have heard a couple statements by Scott Coker saying that they were hopeful for a July return, but I have not heard anything about which opponents are going to be slated on the first cards. I don't know which city they might be going to, where they're going to hold the events. I don't know what's going on with that. But I would love to see some more fights and stuff kick on in July. I mean, I just don't understand. The economy is going to kill more people than the coronavirus thingy, the Wuhan virus.
Oh, you're calling it now? Are you a CCP virus guy now?
I mean, Ebola virus came from Ebola. This virus came from Wuhan, China.
I don't know. I don't know if it's from China. I'm still very skeptical of that, especially now that it's okay to say that. Have you noticed that? Like the new narrative that you're allowed to say, right? You weren't allowed to talk about being a bio.
Well, no, because my timeline is blown up today with Andrew Yang, because I follow Yang, and he's got some video and all these people posting and tweeting out about how, saying the virus is from China is causing violence towards Chinese people.
But
I was like, what about the violence being caused to black people in China?
yeah, I've seen
Can we
that.
talk about that? Can we talk about that too?
Well, you're not allowed to tell people that China is incredibly racist, not only towards black people, but other
Incredibly, like the
Asians.
most racist people I've ever met. Unreal.
Yeah,
They will treat you differently depending on how tan you are when you're with them or around them. Like, it's a wild experience.
Is that real?
Yes, it's a real thing.
So,
I mean, it's an Asian thing too, because if you're tan and dark, it means you're in the sun. That means you're poor.
oh, so they're it's almost
It
like
used to
kind
be
of,
this. It used to be the same way for us back, the Elizabethan time or whatever. People in the big hoop skirts. There was like pale, milky skin was like all the rage because like those chicks never had to go outside and be in the sun.
gotcha. Well, I mean,
Now
even
we pay to lay in artificial sun to get dark as fuck.
yeah, that's something I'm never gonna do. Well, give me an example. I mean, you've been around the block, you've been all around the world. When was the? Give me the John Fitch light bulb moment where you're in a situation in a land far away, or a gym somewhere, or a new training partner or something, where a light bulb goes off and you go, "Holy fuck! These people are racist bastards."
Well, it wasn't this one experience wasn't just that they're racist, like because there's an internalized thing to it. It was in Thailand. We were going to have our one of our instructors, a Thai guy, coming with us to go to lunch and hang out at the beach, watch some volleyball and just chill. And he's like, "Oh no, too dark, like no beach." Like he didn't want to go to the beach because he was already too dark and he didn't want to get darker.
So just it wasn't even him being racist. He was thinking about how other people would think about him based on the
Yes,
culture.
if he went out and got more sun, I was just like, wow, okay, that's different.
You know, I could kind of relate. I mean, I know that I'm not the whitest guy in the world, but over the summer I darken up. And little known fact about me, when I moved up to Redneckville in Montgomery County, people called me Paco because they thought that I was Spanish or
Tan, yeah.
Hispanic. And I'm one of those guys that, this is pretty light for me. But if I go out in the sun for like 2 hours, and come back the next day, and then I do it 2 days in a row, I'm a completely
My
different
buddy
color.
Coach Mo, you've met Coach Mo. He gets too dark, and depending on where he's at in the country, like his ethnicity will change. Like he comes out here, he's a little bit dark. He's Mexican. If he goes like to Florida, he's like Puerto Rican
Or Cuban.
Cuban. I'm sorry, yeah, and Puerto Rican's like Texas or something like that. But like, yeah, it's like different places.
It's weird how people think, man. But again, with China, let's skip it back, I guess, to the virus, right? The problem is that now it's being weaponized as a China versus the United States. So China will say, oh, it's a bioweapon from the U.S. And now with the Epic Times documentary, the CCP virus, and the president calling it the Wuhan virus or the Chinese virus, or it came from China, then it's a nation state again. And now you can't say it was a bioweapon from China, but you can say it was in a bio lab and it leaked out, right?
So what the administration needs to do right now is this is a great opportunity for them to make a high ground maneuver. This is what Scott Adams talks about in his book, but this is perfect time for them to make a high ground maneuver. And when they're going back and forth with, no, you're responsible for the virus. No, you're responsible for the virus. The U.S. Politicians need to go high ground and be like, look, like, the fact that you guys are communist, an evil communist dictator country, is the real problem. Like, the coronavirus is a minute, tiny issue compared to your communism.
Good luck with all that.
That's what they need to do. They need to go high ground on this.
I don't disagree. Listen, that's the thing. Like, I'm not here to defend China. I don't like their system. You know what I mean? I don't like their social credit score. I don't like the fact that they took a bunch of Uyghur Muslims and threw them in the factories that were abandoned because
harvest organs.
Yeah, there's a ton of things that I do not like about China and its political system. But then to erect us as some kind of astute, godly, we want the whole world to be great country is bullshit. We have used this opportunity at every time we could to be like, you know what? Fuck you, Venezuela. We're coming for you. Hey, Iran. get those boats a little closer. We're ready to shoot, you know? Like there's actual hard military maneuvers going on during this. And most people are just so outside of the foreign policy picture. It's like it's not even an election year anymore, right?
Well, it's because and by design, like the press doesn't cover this shit. Who covers international anything? When's the last time you heard about a war or what we're doing in Afghanistan or anywhere else?
You haven't.
Never. You haven't. But fucking Trump told us to drink bleach.
Well, here's the conundrum on that one.
Oh, sure he did. Sure he did. And then everybody freaks out about the UV light thing. And then somebody posts something else about, oh, hey, this is actually a 10-year-old procedure that works very well. It's like, it's just clown show. It's all clown show. It's pro wrestling. And they're doing it because you're watching the fucking clown show and they're bombing shit and doing whatever back behind you.
See, here's where Trump
they're fucking with the market.
He put himself into a bad spot with that one. And let me talk about why. The disinfectant comment, right? Because obviously, anybody with common sense, when he said that, knew that he wasn't like, by the way, what you want to do is you want to go get some liquid bleach or some Lysol or some cleaning product, get a syringe and inject it and disinfect your lungs. That's the way the media portrayed it, right? The problem was that because of the light treatment and the UV light treatment you were talking about, and he did talk about a infected being or disinfectant being injected. Now, what he was really referring to, and this is, I guess you could call this Jason Burma speculation, but I don't think it's much speculation at all, is he was referring to the ozone treatments that cancer patients and others have gotten for decades now. Luke Rudowski of We Are Change, he used to get those every once in a while. Berwick would get those once in a while. The problem is, John, that procedure, A, is not endorsed by Big Pharma, is not endorsed by mainstream science. So if he had admitted the next day, instead of saying that he was testing them, right, and said, no, I was talking about a real ozone treatment, now it's President promotes quacks, and then all the memes would be like President Trump reaching up into the ozone layer with a syringe and taking it. I mean, can you imagine the memes there? So had he actually told the truth about what he was talking about, the press wouldn't have backed off and said, you know what? They do use this in other countries. This might be a treatment to look at. They would have been like, he's going to kill your kids because he wants to use an unproven, wacky treatment. He's a snake oil salesman, etc. So then he builds this other paradigm where he can't admit what he said, and he goes, I was testing you. It's like, no, you weren't, motherfucker. It's like, now you've pushed it too far. You've pushed it way, way too far. I get it. But the press isn't going to be honest. They want to see that guy fail so fucking bad they'll say anything. I think that's real, right?
Well, I mean, they already take every success or minor success that there is and turn it into a failure somehow. They try to twist it, and that's just the because they're looking through a filter of life that he is Hitler, and everything he does is evil, and he means to do evil things because he's a racist, terrible person. So no matter what he does, like they're always going to view him through that filter. Like, it doesn't matter. He could save their life, and they'll come up with some theory why, he just saved me because he wants to make me suffer.
But you know what I don't see?
Make me suffer more.
I don't see a lot of people going, can't wait for Joe Biden to get into office and save us all.
Nobody is saying that.
And,
this whole scenario would be much better with Joe Biden or Hillary Clinton. Oh, she'd do a swell job right now. Yeah.
Where's she been? I haven't seen her in like since this whole Corona thing really started. There were a couple snide tweets.
The shutdown. She's hiding all the children she's smuggling, and she's sucking all the baby blood that she can before the feds come and get her.
Now that'll be
lock her up.
Someone's gonna clip that from the show, right? That's gonna be clip from the show.
Hillary Clinton sucking juice out of a baby.
You heard it. There it is. It's John Fitch's inside information. It's all true. The kids are being rescued in New York City, and the baby blood sucking is real. I bet you a lot
that's the movie. They're going to kick the door open. They're going to rush in to save the kids. And it's going to be a big, huge, fat Hillary with babies in her arm, and she's like sucking on one, face covered in like blood and mess because it looks like she's eating a strawberry pie. And they're going to take her down. That's the ending of our movie.
It's happening. But it's not. but it's not. I hate to tell people, it's certainly not. Do you think he ends up running? Do you think that that's really the nominee? I mean, a lot of people are talking about, well,
I don't know, man. I want to write a horror movie based off of Joe Biden where like it's dark and everything's quiet and he comes out of the dark out of nowhere and he smells your hair. That's terrifying.
did you see what? Well, all right. So I'm sure a lot of people sent you the clip of the new sexual assault accuser of Biden calling
Tara
into Larry
Reid,
King.
and her mother called Larry King and talked about it. They've got more corroborating evidence. Some other people said that she's made the same claims back then when it happened, the same time frame.
Yeah.
And yeah, Alyssa Milano has disappeared. She's not commenting on it. Everybody else who is supportive of the Me Too situation is just silent. There is way more evidence to support Tara Reid's claims than anything that was brought up in the Kavanaugh hearings. And they went after him.
Went after him. Not only went after him in the media, literally, they brought up a possible non-sexual assault and somebody watching a door and maybe someone being on a bed and all sorts of ridiculousness from 30 to 40 years ago. This happened in the 90s. There's documentation of it. Now Google has actively taken down that Larry King episode.
Yeah, that's
from their play catalog.
Dude, China is here already, bro.
That's right. Thank you, John.
Already.
China is here already. Think about
You want to hear another conspiracy theory?
Let's hear it.
What China that Mao was a U.S. asset.
He was. That's not a conspiracy theory. That's not a
and
fucking
China
conspiracy
is just
theory.
controlled by us. We own China.
That's not a conspiracy theory. Listen, look up Mao and the Rockefeller Foundation. Literally, David Rockefeller. In fact, I have just a little segment. It's not even about that part of it, but it is part of Kissinger and Nixon in correspondence building the quote-unquote New World Order in Indonesia and China through those organizations way back in the day. Of course, listen, that's their wet dream, that they have a social credit score for all of us, that we willingly allow ourselves to be tracked, traced, and databased.
Oh, I think it's inevitable. We can't stop it. It's within 5 years of happening, and it's all going to be through facial recognition.
I think it'll be beyond facial recognition. In fact,
right? They will watch your walk, your gait. They'll know how much you weigh. Like they'll have all this digital information on you, and there'll be cameras everywhere. They're already experimenting with putting drones up everywhere. You don't think those drones are going to have cameras loaded on them with
like
facial recognition hardware everywhere?
You mean like this one here that they launched in Connecticut?
Geez. Yeah.
This one here, the one that has the symptoms, that literally is a symptom monitoring drone software where they take your temperature from a drone vehicle to see your heat signature. Now, luckily, again, people in Connecticut were like...
How likely, I'm not a doctor or nothing, but how likely do you think that a person has a very unique heat signature like a fingerprint? You think that's a possibility?
Listen, I'm one of those guys that heats up like a fucking battery at night. Like, I really do. Like, I'll wake up...
Eat a lot of fruit?
I don't know, man.
There's a term. You eat a lot of fruit. There's a term called thermogenesis. Like, you don't store the energy and the sugar from fruit. You either burn it up right away or it burns off in your body temperature.
Really?
Being hot, yeah.
That's interesting. I mean, a lot of people... I've never been diagnosed with it.
You will never, ever get fat overeating fruit, but you'll have a hard time getting skinny because you'll burn that energy first.
Interesting. I do have a little bit of love handles, and I have been hitting the gym. I'm trying to get up in there, guys. I'm still not great.
Squats and deadlifts. Get it done.
That's right. But you know, with the heat signature, with the fact that this is going to be monitoring people, I'm glad they pushed back and like basically they're like, no, we're not doing this. Get out of here. The town was like, fuck this. We're not going to do it. We're seeing more and more of that nationally.
That's a test. I guarantee they're going to test it in some other places, see if they can get away with it.
Obviously.
I mean,
well, you had the New York City drones that were telling people to social distance and go home. Did you see the video of the two doctors that went viral?
Yeah, I watched your breakdown of it the other day.
Oh, awesome. I mean,
So
again,
they're trying to get. I mean, they're speaking. Like they're not overwhelmed. They're not overloaded. Like it's time to get back to work, and like they're having some real issues with why is this happening? This doesn't make sense. Something else is going on.
Yeah.
That's a scary thing when one of the doctors is like something else is going on. This is fucked up, guys.
even at the very end because they kind of pressed him, like that was the second part of that. It was over an hour, almost an hour and a half. But at the very end, when he talks about keeping you in your home, saying that China has a bomb, that really resonated with me, especially in the climate that we're in, where again, you're allowed to say the Wuhan virus came from a lab in China. You're allowed to say, China thinks it's a bioweapon from the U.S. And you wonder, with this 2020 type warfare, what a war with China really looks like. Like, it doesn't look like a ground war, guys. It might look like a bunch of bioweapons.
I mean, there'll probably be some naval battles, but there's going to be a lot of what is that? Intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Intercontinental ballistic missiles.
Yes, I did a report on that a long time ago. Intercontinental ballistic missiles. Yeah,
I sure hope not.
So like that would seem to be more likely of something Navy battles and missiles launched. And a lot of cyber fucking attacks. You're going to see city grids come down. You're going to see Netflix taken off the air.
Not Netflix, John.
You're going to see the distribution chains of marijuana and alcohol shut down. Fucking people are going to go nuts.
Let's hope that the marijuana distribution chain keeps right up there.
Keep your seeds, guys. Keep your seeds.
I mean, those are some of the only seeds that actually work since they're not GMO. You can't take a tomato from the store and put the seeds from the tomato in the ground.
I have a nice announcement to make.
Let's hear it.
I successfully grew potatoes.
Oh!
Me and the boys put some potatoes in the ground, and we came up. These ones are smaller because we had to dig these up early because ants infested one of the plants and ate them all up, and then they ate like some of the potatoes. But I've never grown a potato before. That's wild.
You did it.
It's wild. It's the potato is the phoenix of vegetables.
Now, is that from the Victory Garden video?
That's from my video. That's
that's what I'm saying.
No,
the one with you and your kids.
No, I planted some other things for the garden videos that I put.
Gotcha.
The potatoes were already in the ground. That happened a little while ago because before very beginning of the lockdown, we had some potatoes in the cupboard that were old and starting to grow the roots and get the eyes on them. And
yep. And
I was like, hey guys, right in the ground let's bury these. Let's see what happens. I never did this before, and then they grew, and now we have potatoes. So that's pretty cool. I might put another one back in the ground and grow more potatoes. If it's this easy to grow potatoes, my garden may just be a potato garden, and I may learn how to make vodka.
Oh snap! I was why
right?
not? Right?
I have unlimited potatoes.
If a serial violent rapist can have his own brand of whiskey, why can't a legendary MMA fighter have his own vodka? Right?
Mm-hmm. I can. I'll sell it in the old milk jugs once they're empty. So the back of the garage, my milk jug of my homemade potato vodka.
That's nice. I like it. I like it a lot.
Surviving in the apocalypse.
Oh, speaking of surviving in the apocalypse, surviving the digital nightmare that is YouTube is kind of tough. That's why I have a Rockfin. Folks, if you want to check it out, it's rockfin.com/Jason Bermas. I go exclusive tomorrow at noon and live stream. You also go exclusive tomorrow at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific with Boomer and Toots. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Yeah, me and my partner Leah Lee, we talk about things. We talk about current events with a masculine and feminine points of view, and it's pretty fun.
What do you think some of the topics this week are going to be?
Well, one of the things we're going to talk about is I mentioned to her because she works as my business manager also, right? So she helps with all my social media posts and helping with book events and stuff like that. So. I mentioned to her, I was like, hey, when it gets warm outside, I lift in the garage in my underwear a lot. And I always get a bunch of comments and whatever about it. So it's like, maybe we should reach out to some underwear companies and see if we can get an affiliate deal or a sponsorship, whatever, just
Mm-hmm.
might as well. It's worth a shot. So she goes and searches for underwear companies on Instagram, and she finds one, and she sends it a message. Hey, um, I work for John Fitch, and he works out in his garage in his underwear all the time. He gets a lot of good feedback from his followers. Hit us up if you're interested or whatever. And the guy gets back to us and asks for like my dimensions and whatever. And then Leah lets me know about it, and I go and I check out the site, and it's a special kind of underwear.
What kind of underwear are we talking? What? Please tell me it's like some
It's
kind of
like
exotic
it's
dog
like
underwear.
there's like man, there's like little sections of horrors missing, so like your butt cracks kind of hanging out.
What?
Or it's like they're like it's a homosexual
Ah,
store. It's like it's gay. So there's like it's a gay underwear thing. So we're gonna share some pictures and whatever of this and what she was like trying to pimp me out to like wear these underwears, and it's like if that's your thing, whatever. But I thought it was funny that she was asking for underwear for me to work out in. That is like yeah, it's
Yeah.
like gay male gay lingerie underwear.
basically sponsored by Grinder is what you're telling me.
Basically, yes. And I was just like, I was looking through the thing. I was like, this doesn't look right. I don't know if this is my audience. I don't know. Or maybe it is that I'm missing out. I'd
Yeah,
have, like,
right. Maybe you got to
100,000 followers
capitalize
if I
that.
was
Forget Joe
put on
Boxer.
put a couple pair of the ass crack underwears on and do some dips or something.
Yeah, maybe Joe Exotic has his own brand coming out. That's like he's.
Oh man, do some deep squats.
Did you
my,
watch the wrap-up show on that?
my
I
sexy
still have to watch
underwear.
that. Have you seen that yet? The Joel McHale wrap-up show of the Tiger King?
Yeah, I did.
I haven't watched it
I
yet.
did.
I got to get on it.
I did.
My
It's a
biggest
fluff
problem-
piece. It's a fluff piece.
Yeah. My biggest problem is that like they're still not talking about Joe Exotic taping people having sex with his animals. Why is that not like mainstream? Like, do you not have you heard
That was
about
a
this?
thing. People would have sex with his animals.
Dude, his niece said that Joe Exotic niece sex
Oh my goodness.
with
I don't
tigers.
even know how to wrap my head around that. Somebody's like, I want to fuck a tiger.
Bro.
Like, is that a thing?
Well, maybe
my
it's not or a
God.
cub. I mean, these people are
You
listen,
need some
people
help,
are fucking
bud.
sick. So Joe Exotic's niece makes outrageous claim Tiger King had videos of people performing sex acts on his zoo animals. And this has been out for several weeks now. I reported on it barely. But she gave an exclusive interview saying you don't know who the real Joe Exotic is. And I'm thinking to myself, well, this is a guy that had two straight guys as a husband. And when his one husband killed himself in his office, he was married to another guy 2 months later. So yeah, I don't know that this is out of the realm. This isn't, you look at everything else, it doesn't look out of the realm.
Pretty wild.
Again, man, what kind of person has a bunch of animals living with them that at a moment's notice could take their life? Like, not many people with it or on it. Even Mike Tyson regrets having those big cats.
My boy said to me today, he's like, Daddy, I want to get an alligator. Can we get a big alligator? And I was like, no, we're not gonna have an alligator. He's like, why? Like, people can have tigers. I was like, fuck. I was like, how do I even argue this shit
Crocodile
out?
Hunter?
I was
Have
like,
your
no.
kids seen that yet?
What's that?
Have your kids seen the Crocodile Hunter yet?
Oh no, they haven't. I don't think they've been exposed to Crocodile Hunter yet.
See, like the Animal Planet.
What is that? What is he on now? Is
So
that reruns on
Animal Planet?
Amazon? Well, yeah, but I don't even have regular TV.
Oh well, I mean,
Amazon, Netflix.
I use something different. I got IPTV. But basically, Animal Planet has taken all the old shows and like cut up an intro for like the classics. And they even put in a lot of the stuff that didn't get aired with him and his wife and his kid. And, a lot of the old school stuff is there from the Crocodile Hunter for sure. But they've kind of fleshed it out a little bit more. And it's kind of like the catalog of Steve Irwin. I keep it on every once in a while for the kids. Because, obviously they like animals and stuff like that. They're like, oh my goodness, what is this guy doing? But, I mean, for a guy that not only wrangled fucking crocodiles and every other animal, to get done in by a stingray at the end is pretty incredible. But it shows you, man, you just never know. You're dealing with wild creatures. I mean, you're rolling
Yeah, you
the
have
dice.
no idea. They're just trying to survive and reproduce. You're either food or a threat.
You're 100% right. You're 100% right. Well, we are working out the end of this one, guys. Make sure to thumbs it up, subscribe, share. I'm going to do everything I can to make sure that Fight Island, which again is rumored to be one of Jeffrey Epstein's islands, does not have Nate Diaz versus Conor McGregor. I am currently still working on that little mini documentary on McGregor. I think now's the time to definitely push that forward, seeing that I have the time. We are all locked in. Still not easy to put those type of narratives together, but I'd like to get something out for people to see before this happens. JohnFitch.net is the website. You can follow him, everything up at the top, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. That's where you find John Fitch Knows Nothing, and usually do that live, right? 9 times out of 10, if not 10.
Yeah, the John Fish thing is usually a live. I don't pre-tape it, so there's not like a set day or schedule that it's on. It's just it'll pop. You'll get a notification like 30 minutes before I go live, and I do one. You can also go to the Podbean and listen to the old ones, or just watch the video on YouTube after.
And remember, he's an author, folks. The Weight Cut Bible. All you people out there trying to do this professionally or make weight for wrestling, etc., other types of sports, this is how you do it. I don't know how he does it, but apparently he wrote it down and he's sharing it with the world. Falling Upward, the other book. GruelingTruth.com, thegruelingtruth.com. That's where you're going to find us. Audio format, and that's where you can also find John Fitch Knows Nothing other than Podbean. That's all over here at The Grueling Truth. We are both on Rockfin, ROKFIN. Again, exclusive Tuesdays at noon for free right now. Sign up for a Rockfin. You can follow me. You can follow Fitch. There's free stuff. There's premium stuff. But John also goes premium there tomorrow. If you want to financially support me, this month is almost up. I really want to hit that $5,000 mark now that I've gotten $1 to $3.5 grand taken from me every single month from YouTube with no recourse. And I may not even have a channel that much longer. So if you can support me, I'd really appreciate it, guys. With that being said, make sure to thumbs this video up, like, share, and subscribe. And John and I will see you on the flip. Thanks, John.
There, dudes.